up a little bit. Not troubleshooting, housekeeping. Restrooms are down the hall. The student restrooms are open for us to use. All the way down the hall, last door on the left is the women's, and then opposite that on the second hallway is the men's. Let's see what else is there. We're here till 2:15, and you got a little passing period to go to the next session. What Jennifer's made for you guys this week, or today, is this nice little early release PD note packet. This is for you to keep all your notes from today. That's why you'll see most of our stuff is digital, but if you want to take notes in here, that's what it's for. This session title, I don't remember what it's called on the first title we gave it, but it's technically just DESMOS Math Explorations. So, are there any questions about housekeeping, anything before we get started? The orange little sheet was a tapeable pocket. It was supposed to be a pocket that you put in and tape it down, and then all the handouts you can put inside that pocket. We didn't get tape. We don't have handouts, so it's going to work out fine. So let us go ahead and jump in. It's DESMOS. I want to introduce ourselves. Brent, you want to go first?
Sure. I'm Brandon Groh. I'm just on the high school side, but I still work with middle school here and there. I service Warren, CCA, ComArts, and Taft, and then I'll also be at Harlan High School once it opens up.
So we both are academic technology. I'm Matthew Patty. I used to work in middle school math. That's why I know so many of you look so familiar. We're doing something else that's pretty cool today. We're recording a session. Do you want to talk through this?
Sure. This device is called the Swivel. What it does is Matt has a little receiver, and what it does is it follows it around. So it records everything that you do. Now this works also as a microphone, so it'll pick up everything that we say. And basically it's just a way so that way you can record everything that's going on in your class. What I'm also doing is recording what's going on up here at the same time. And then what I'll do is I'll post a video of this session, and once they're done, that'll have a split screen of both what's up here and what's going on in the room. So it's kind of something new. This is district approved, so you just have to find a good reason for your principal to get it.
Okay, if we were to use this in our class, what happens if it records a student?
Okay, that's where you got to get permission first. The way that we've been doing it is making sure that there are no students like in the video themselves, so you can adjust it so it's above the kids' heads.
So you can use their voice on there?
Yeah, because that's okay with the AUP. The second thing is just make sure you don't post it online. If you post it online, make it private, link only, things like that.
If we post it on our webpage, because of our webpage?
I would prefer Google Classroom, just since that's password protected.
Okay.
If you do it on your webpage, you also have to password protect it, which you can do through Google Drive, but it's a little bit more process.
Okay.
What's the price on it? Do you know?
The unit itself is about $310, $315, and the stand is $80. So it's about $400 total, but you do have to supply an iPad.
And then you want to talk about where they're using it right now?
Yeah, we're using it at Warren High School with the AP Calculus right now. Mr. Meyer is actually using it. He is recording every one of his lessons because with AP Calculus, it's mostly juniors and seniors, and the majority of them are extracurricular students. So they're missing every Thursday and Friday due to sports and everything.
Is it more for like homebound kids or kids that are
A little
out?
bit of both, yeah. So just so that way they don't miss out on the lesson, since we're trying to push for AP scores as well. So that's where that's coming.
So at the end of today, we'll send out an email to this little sign-in list. And again, if you haven't signed in, make sure you do that. We'll send out a link to this video clip after we mash it together, as well as the presentation we've got for you guys. What's it called? What's the name of it again?
Swivel. It's SWIVL.
So if you're interested in that, I think that the middle school team tends to jump on things a little faster. So I wouldn't be surprised if this goes district-wide, middle school level, pretty soon. I am in my new position. I work with high schools. Brandon and I both work with high schools. We had one of our middle school colleagues, Anna Sexton, go out on maternity leave when this was kind of in planning. So we got asked to step in, and we were happy to do so. We both have math backgrounds, and we've put this kind of day together. Many of you might have seen some of the stuff we're going to give you. Hopefully it's new.
Excuse this interruption. If you drive a white Sienna Toyota, license GBF 2759, please move your van at this time. A white Sienna Toyota van.
Is a Sienna a van? I didn't think that was a van. It's a van? All right. So we only have till 2:15, so we're going to go a lot. This might seem like it's going fast. It's designed that way because we have so little time. So I'll just jump right in. What is DESMOS? DESMOS is an online free visual calculator. It was developed by some computer programmers in California. If you guys are familiar with Dan Meyer at all, his best friends made this program. It's a completely web-based program. will always be free for teachers. The purpose of it is they are in for the money, like many things are in education, but they're in for the money from testing side. They're going to make the state of Texas pay for this to be an electronic calculator for them to use. As far as the teacher support, it'll always be free, and they've said that numerous times. It's very simple. If you're familiar with GeoGebra or the TI Inspires, those are in a whole nother category, whole nother level. Desmos is very simple. It's designed to do things quickly and visually and just simple. Here's one of the biggest things that Desmos likes to kind of brag about is the artwork that they put together. Here's a collection of 3 simple student pictures that they put together. There's a whole slew of lessons out there, and you'll actually walk through one of those in a few minutes as a student, but I just kind of want to touch on that. For those of you that don't teach 8th grade, that you don't have the calculators for the testing grade, I don't want you to tune out on this session because, yes, it's a graphing calculator session, but you can still use a graphing calculator to teach your content in your classroom. I don't think there's anything wrong with showing your students something a little bit more of a vertical stretch. You wouldn't have to, they don't have to master the graphing calculator, but I think the visual representation will be really, really powerful. All of us in here are mathematicians at one level or another, and we all know the power of visualizing math, and we've got to communicate that to our students. This tends to help that. What I'd like to do really quickly is get a quick poll on the group to see how many of you guys are familiar with Desmos, and I want to do that with my little clicker cards. Is anyone in here familiar with clicker cards? Could someone please explain to the group how they can respond to this question? You take one and pass it down. Yes, please. Take one and pass one down.
Like an individualized QR code. Every card looks different. On the outskirts of the card, you have A, B, C, or D. If you want to answer A, you have to be holding first the white area and put letter A at the top. If you want to answer B, put letter B at the top. Like I said, each individual card is different, so when he scans it from the front of the room, it'll let him know that you're the one that chose that letter.
So, everyone have any questions about that? What I'd like for you to do is respond to this question. Desmos, if you've heard about it, how familiar you are with this? A to B, A to D. A meaning you've never heard of it, D meaning you are an expert at it. And I will scan you guys in just a second.
So you would create a roster and attach the roster to the card number and assign a card number to a student. That's how we do it.
All right. And I'm getting in live time. We're not training you guys on clickers at all today. It's just kind of to see where you guys are as level of expertise in the room. Looks like there are a lot of newbies. Cool. This is great. So I'd say all of us either picked A or B, meaning you've heard of it, you've never really used it. That's awesome. That's going to help us frame our conversation today. What I'll do is I'll kind of showcase how it could be used in just general settings. So first I want to point out, I've got 3 test questions here. I'll let you guys, anyone want to take a stab at what grade level this is?
7.
Close. One away.
I know, right?
Nope, not 8. This is from the 6th grade release item, or release test. What it does is, it's just a problem here. I'll read through the problem, I guess, and then I'll show you how you can visualize it. It's not 7. So, the table shows the relationship between some values P and V. Based on the table, which expression represents any value of V in terms of its corresponding value of P. So, given a table, come up with the expression that matches that table values. Now, I think that there's multiple ways to solve this problem, and I would not necessarily teach my students to solve this problem using the graphing calculator initially at all. I would not even do that at all. I think that it's a cool way to visualize it. So let me show you what you could do with it, and then we'll pause and talk about what kind of conversations that would add. So what I've done here is I've added this problem kind of preloaded to a Desmos drawing here, and I'm going to go ahead and display it. So what I've done, got here is I've graphed 4 points, and I've just graphed those 4 points that are from the initial values in the table. I added it as a table, and I've got those 4 blue points. So you can, have this conversation. Those points can be graphed on an XY coordinate plane. There they are. And then what I've done is inside that table, I've graphed each of the rules And you'll see the other sets of points, the red and the green points showing up as well. And we can have a conversation. Those points are not in the same place. What does that mean? And have them kind of determine that those are not the same values. And hopefully they'll kind of see that connection again. Not something that 6th grader would need to master, but I do think that visually it would add something to the class. And then eventually as they are, let me just get over here so you can see both parts of it at once. This is working. So you've got the 3 points there, and then as I select the orange ones, it would cover up the blue ones, which would be the correct answer there. It's kind of hard to get it all jammed in the screen. I formatted it earlier on a different dimensions. I didn't think about the presentation. But hopefully you can see some benefit of visualizing that mathematics. Here's another question. Let's go to a 7th grade question. Which table contains the first 5 terms of the arithmetic sequence represented by the expression 5n plus 6, where n represents the position of the term in the sequence? Again, not one that I would probably jump to graphing initially, but it's another way to visualize the math, and I think that this might help connect some dots for some students as they continue on. What I've done here is I've got the same kind of graph prepped for it. So what I've done is I've graphed the function that it gave me, that's just giving me the line, and then what I've done is I've graphed each of the answer choices. That's A, there's B, there's C, and there's D. So what I would probably do this is solve this problem in the regular way that you would in the classroom, then show them this visual and have them kind of discuss what's really going on here, what's happening. And I think that the conversations around that would be very valuable because you're doing some algebra work before the algebra teachers see them. And I think that they would benefit from that. It's not a 7th grade teak to have these conversations, but again, just touching on that vertical alignment I think would be very, very helpful. Let's talk about an 8th grade question. This is where, man, if I was an 8th grade teacher, I would use this every day. Here's a word problem. Sal purchased some art supplies and cardstock to make some greeting cards. The graph below shows the relationship between the cards and the total cost of the materials. And then you've got the visual graph. What you've got here is you've got 2 points on the graph, and then it's asking for you to make a conclusion. Based on the graph, what would be the total cost of making 25 greeting cards? So again, if I want to make a quick little visual of this, I could set up the DESMOS graph.
How time-consuming is it to enter all this information into it?
I debated doing it live because it's really not bad at all. I decided against it mainly because this one was a little bit more because what I've done is I've plotted 2 points, and then those points are movable. But I mean, it's really simple. There's not much. There is one other thing that I probably should have done here. Made it projector mode so it makes it a little more bright. But as I've got this now, I can kind of click on those points. Those are the 2 points that it gave me, and I've got that graph. I could see this really beneficial because you could graph another line very quickly, have those conversations, what's going on. You could plot another point. You could move these points. What does this point now represent? Have that conversation, stuff like that. Very simple, easy way to visualize it. So even if you teach a grade level that doesn't have graphing calculators in there, I think that it's very, very valuable just as a tool to represent and visualize it. Now, this is not all that DESMOS can do. It can do much more than that. Several of you have already kind of stumbled on the website, and I'm glad that you have. What I'd like us to do is actually go through one of the pre-made lessons on DESMOS. So if you wouldn't mind going to student.desmos.com, I'm going to have you guys just act as students and walk through an activity. I've got to give you a code. We're going to do a Central Park activity. So student.desmos.com, it should be asking you for a code, and that class code is up at the front, RUJV. Now, this is going to be an activity that I would love to use in my classroom. I think that it hits lots of different levels. I'm going to let you guys kind of go through it from top to bottom, play with it, have some fun. We'll come back together and kind of discuss it in a little bit. As you're going on, I want to point out this is what the teacher screen looks like. I can actually monitor what my students are doing in live time. Right now we've frozen it, and don't worry, I'm not going to be tracking your progress. It's not going anywhere. But I do want you to see what's kind of capable with this. This is only one of very, very many lessons that they've got planned.